Greetings from the Eerie Coast. This is Mad Shad. What are we going to talk about today? Man, what the fuck is going on? I'll tell you what the fuck is going on. The world has had it. Had it with the bullshit. The lies. The manipulation. All of it. They're done. They're done. I'm trying to think of the quote. What? Shit, how's it go? What does a civilized people gain from being civilized when those who govern them are not? What? What's going on in France? Yeah, we see what's going on in France. Mr. President Macron, he is calling for more lockdowns and bullshit, and the people have started to riot, and it's a riot. It's rioting. There is the Antifa. Antifa's there. Antifa's all throughout Europe. They're the instigators to a lot of shit, and that's the truth. If you look at any of these these riot footage, you'll see them. You'll see them in their black clad and their their little symbols. I mean, they got all the same stuff over there. It's in French or German or whatever. They're all over the world. I mean, this fascist, make no mistake. They say they're Antifa, anti-fascist, but they're actually fascist. I mean, it's just the oxymoron, the kettle calling the kettle black. I mean, it's strange. It is. I mean, especially for us sensible people, sensible, civilized people, if you will, who live our lives in honesty and see things as they are. Whereas these kind of folks are fighting against anti-fascist with fascism. So, and make no mistake about it, this is the precursor to the anarcho-Marxist society that they wish for. That's what they're trying to do. That's their goal, is an anarchy Marxist thing. But that's never going to happen. See, that's never going to happen. What is going to happen is they're going to fight for somebody else. Okay? And we all know who that is. And it's not even socialism. It's something even worse. Yes. There is something worse than socialism. Oh yeah. Yeah. Totalitarianism. Dictatorism. Yeah. Yes. The dictator. It's a world where you've got the elites and the not so elites, the haves and the have-nots. You will own nothing and you will be happy? Yeah. No, you will own nothing and they will be happy. Yeah. So, I don't know how that's going to work here. I mean, they're trying in all over the world. The world is burning. The world around us is burning. It really is. Really. Cuba, South Africa. South Africa as a whole has always had turmoil and shit going on. But, now it's pretty bad. South Africa, Cuba. I mean, well, you could say that Cuba's failing. I mean, Cuba's been failing for a long time. Things pretty much went to shit right after Fidel Castro took over. You know, you guys know how he did it, right? Fidel Castro took over by fighting, becoming a freedom fighter. Okay, he hid in the jungles and he ambushed people. He ambushed the military. Now, mind you, the Cuban at the time, I forget his name. Crap, the name escapes me. But the pre government of Castro was oh, they were dictators, and you know he wasn't really a socialist, but it was very corrupt and you know, pretty nasty kind of guy. So Castro played upon that, and he brought people over to his side. You know, Che Guevara, you know, the Shining Path. I mean, you know, they ran around beheading people, which Che Guevara got his his comeuppance, if you will, when he was ambushed and riddled full of hoes. But you know, that's what he did, and he took everything out of the playbook of Marxism and socialism. The Khmer Rouge, or I'm sorry, Khmer Rouge. There was no trilling. They did the same thing, and this is all what Antifa is doing all over the world. And you know, yeah, they're small potatoes. Yeah. I mean, it's a movement. It's a terrorist organization which recruits the disenfranchised, the how should we say it? Socially inept and stupid, ignorant youth of the world, and gives them a purpose. You know, it puts a sword in the hands of a kid that has young angst. We all remember young angst, that young angst energy. You know, usually you join the military, or I mean, Peace Corps. You know, you do something like that. You know, or you go sow your wild oats. You go backpacking across the United States, or you know, whatever. You join a missionary and you go to Africa. You know, whatever. I mean, but we all remember those days. You know, whatever. Hey, but the radicalization of our youth today, and they're ripe. They're ripe for the picking, because while we were working our asses off, trying to make a living out here, and trying to get ahead of the game, and buy shit and do shit and make something, we were sending our kids to a daycare, a 12-year daycare. And they were indoctrinating and making them stupid with CRT and core and you know, literally socialist. I mean, throwing everything that you learned about patriotism out the window. You know, American civics, that doesn't exist anymore. All those things that you and I went to school and learned and had to do papers on, you know, Animal Farm and 1984, all that shit. They don't learn that. No, they don't learn that. No, it's drag queen story time and bullshit. So, you know, how Comrade Red is going to save the world. You know, and the workers struggle and whatever. Yeah, everything that our forefathers fought against, literally with blood, hand-to-hand combat. You know, high explosive ordnance, fought them. It's the Third Reich. It is. It's here. Or the Fourth Reich. It's not Russia. It's not China. They're going to take advantage of it. We're going to have a lot of countries and a lot of influences into into our downfall, which they think is inevitable. They really do. They really believe that our downfall is inevitable. And we have a lot of players on the inside that are trying to work this out. Hell, one of them is a freaking SCOTUS, freaking potato. You know, I mean, we've had our government has been hijacked. Things have been sabotaged. And the thing is, we really don't know what's true out there. We do know that life still goes on in our municipalities and local governments and things like that, but they're in that too. You know, it's everywhere you turn, you see this woke bullshit. It's everywhere. But yes, the R is coming. Yes, the balkanization, all this and that. But not in the near future. Unless, and this is, you have to think. I mean, you have to think. It's a fine line. Fine line that you have to walk if you're going to destroy a proud, strong nation of mostly veterans of wars. That 80-year-old man that sits around at the VFW drinking and smoking and telling the stories of yore. He's still that 80-year-old man on the shores of Normandy. He's still that 18-year-old boy, 17-year-old boy on the shores of Normandy. You know, getting shot at by a freaking German, you know, fully automatic, you know, what the hell's the name of the game? You know, Mitzer Schmitz, and you know, I mean, it's those are the guys that still walk the earth, man. They still remember that shit. We have veterans of Desert Storm in Vietnam, Korea, Frozen Chosen. They're still around. You know, in Vietnam, I mean, Desert Storm, Desert Shield, Afghanistan. You know, I mean, and all the little other things that went on, you know, all across the world that not many people heard about. You know, there were little small blimps in things, and a lot of those guys became career. And they got out and they went down the path of you know, possibly law enforcement, or you know, that's usually where you go, or you start your own business or something, or you know. But we're still out there. We are still out there, and we are in large numbers. And what, 80 million, something like that? I forget the number. I think it's about 80 million, if not more, maybe 90 million veterans. And not all of them are conservative and whatnot, what have you. Not all of them, not all of us carry guns and believe in the oath that we took, you know, which... There's a lot of weird, you know, there's a lot of veterans that step straight from the path, you know, and you'll see them on the other side. That's fine. This is a free country. Still. Yes, I say this. Still. Wow, I'm looking out my window and I'm looking at four food delivery people, and they're getting pissed off because everybody's in everybody's way. I see Domino's, I see Uber, I think that's another Uber. I mean, it's crazy. Food delivery. I mean, convenience, man. We live in a world of convenience. You can still do that. You can get a job doing that. We're a long ways away from total anarchy and bullshit. I mean, I still, you can just see it. You can see it in the traffic. There's still gas, Yeah, gas is high. Yeah, cigarettes are high. Yeah, beer is high. Yeah, food is high. You know what? We'll pay it. We'll fucking pay it. We don't care. Just make more money, right? And I know doom and gloom. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's what we're supposed to be looking at, and that is ahead of us. Yes, I agree. That is a strong possibility. See, my mind is a probability machine. I'm not here to predict the future. I'm not going to tell you, oh my God, get this, get that. Yes, get this, get that. But I don't know. I'm looking out my balcony, right? My balcony window, and I'm not seeing things on fire. I'm not seeing aliens, with death rays. I don't see Antifa. I don't see the government marching down the streets with jackbooted thugs and automatic rifles shooting people in the face. I don't see any of that. I don't see any of that. So if this is a takeover of everything that we know and love in this country, it's got to be something somewhere else. I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. That doesn't mean it's not there. I hear another dog whining. I see people driving up and getting food from the restaurant next door. I mean, I see that. I got paid today. I paid some bills today. I came home. I still have electricity. I still have running water. I still got all my food. Everything is in good shape here. I'm not. Nobody's been in here. My dog is okay and alive. Charity is fine. She's resting. We went on a big old walk. But life is good-ish. So far. I mean, is it bad in places? Sure. But we're Americans. And we make do. We get by. We do better. We make things better. Build back better. We make things better. Pizza. Yeah. Everything in this world we make better. That should be our logo. We make better. We make everything better. We do. So they're going to try. They're always going to try. And they might succeed some. But I'm not seeing all the doom and gloom. And that's what I prepped for. I prepped to fight. Have been all my life. And a lot of that has to do with this and this. So, and of course this. So, I mean, that's what we do. That's what I do. That is my I don't know, how can I put it? It's always been my modus operandi, since I joined the Marine Corps. So it just got worse afterwards. And I'm like, oh, this is how you war fight. Okay, yeah, I got this. So, but you get older, you get a little long in the tooth, gray beard. Oh, my beard doesn't even grow anymore. It just turns grayer. Yeah, it's funny. My hair is all gray. Things hurt a little bit more and for longer. You know, I'm just, if it's going to happen, what's going to happen? That's my question. What is going to happen? So far, I have a job, I have a car, I have an apartment, I have money in the bank, I have food, I got water, you know, I've got electricity. I'm good. And that doesn't mean I don't prep for it. I mean, for that eventual time when all that runs out, all that is threatened. You know, that's why we prep, you know. Prep, hoard. But having that mindset that, oh my God, it's doom and gloom and it's today. No, it's not. That's the anticipation of death is worse than death itself. You know, the anticipation of pain is worse than pain itself. So I can't look at every day as being what the fuck, you know. I do sometimes, but I have to focus. I have to focus on my life and how good I can make it. How can I better my position? You know, and that's all I can do. And stay away from drama. Because I just can't do the drama. I just can't. You know, I just can't do it. I won't do it. And I'll try not to offend anyone's sensibilities. Will I stand up? Absolutely. You damn straight I will. And have. And will. Forever. But then I just, you know, I back away. I go about my business. You know. But will I speak my mind? If asked, hey, what do you think? Shouldn't have asked that question, buddy. Here it comes. You know, a wise man keeps his mouth shut, his eyes open. At least he opens his mouth and prove he's not. But here I am on YouTube talking shit. So, words of Havamal. But continue to train, continue to prep, because it's a mad, mad world out there. And I'm just a mad, mad, mad shad. A little crazy, a little smart, a little stupid, and I'm a fool. Absolutely, I'm a fool. And I can say that. I can say that with great confidence. I can FSU with the best of them, without even trying sometimes. So. You know, if you need something absolutely, positively broken overnight, just call me and put me in the general area of it. It will break. I'll bump into it. Boil in a china shop. But I try to think. I do. I really do. I remember the times when I used to really think about shit. You know, before I started to succumb to TBIs, and which I'm still, you know, I'm having a bit of clarity moment right now. So I don't know. I'm not going to talk about quantum physics or anything, but you know, we can talk about that. I mean, that's how I look at it in this grand scheme of things. All this bullshit and all the lies and deception and the doom and gloom, and you know, that's what we go through anyway as a human species, and that's what we got to deal with. The infighting and we are social creatures, okay? As much as I'm a lone wolf, I'm not. I'm really not. I depend on a lot of people to survive. We all do. We all do. You know, it takes a pound. To get a pound of food to you, it takes about 100 pounds. You know, to make a pen, which I don't know, how much do you think this pen costs? $1. Whatever. It's probably cheap, actually, for a pen. But it probably took $10,000 to make this pen. So, you know, that's scaled down. But if you make 10,000 pens, then you get $10,000. You know, whatever. But if you can get the cost down and, you know, you make this pen, you break it down, it only costs you 50 cents, you're getting a 50-cent profit. You know, well, now actually, because then you got to sell it, you got to distribute it, you got to ship it, you got to sell it, you got to ship it, or they buy it and they put that into the price, and then they sell it to you, and you know somebody's got to vend it, somebody's got to work at it, and somebody's got to stock this thing in the stores, you know, and then somebody's got to ring it up and give it to you and put it in a bag, you know. Oh, wait a minute, wait. Oh shit! Now I've got to return it. It's defective. It's in pieces. Look at this. There's all these pieces here. What the hell am I going to do with all of this? Well, I'm going to go back and I'm going to say, hey, I want my money back. Or they're going to say, oh, here's a new pen for you. You know, yeah, that costs money too. So now that $1 just costs, you know, $10. So, but that is the world that we live in, and that's the system that we have made. And we've allowed it to be hijacked by the lowest bidder. Let's make no mistake about that one either. You know, would you rather buy a pen that writes fairly well and might last you a little bit of time? I don't know, maybe. It might last you, if you use it every day for the rest of your life, it might last you maybe 3 months. Okay, great. So what do? You take that pen, and once it stops writing, you throw it away, right? That's what you do. That's what we all do. We take the pen and we fucking throw it away. Yeah, I'm trying to put this pen back together. It's proving quite difficult. But would you rather buy this disposable fucking pen, which is probably going to sit in your drawer for, 5 years, and then one day you're going to pull that out and go, fuck, it doesn't write anymore, you know? Or would you rather spend $20 on a stainless steel pen that'll last you for the rest of your life, and you're going to use it every day for 3 months, and it's still going to run out? Now you just got to replace the ink in it. I mean, it's up to you now. It is up to you. The consumer has the choice. Consumer choice. So let us not forget who's in charge around here. Okay? The almighty dollar. All right? The almighty dollar. All right, like pinball preparedness. I'm sorry. Not pinball preparedness. Pinball prepping. As Penn would say. Penn. But we get to choose who lives or who dies in the economic world. That is true. That is true. And you know what? There's so much diversity in this country, in this economic, social world, that even if a whole country said screw you and we're boycotting you, they could still stay a corporation off of another country. So whatever. But they'll be moving on to somewhere else. It will hurt them, and they might have to downsize. I think that's the new thing. I'm not advocating for violence, but there is economic violence and administrative violence. Yes, savvy? So, we can do that. We can do that. You know? There's many places I boycotted just because I walked in without a mask. You can't have a mask. You got come in here with a mask on. You got to have a mask on. Whatever. Oh, okay. Well, guess what? I'm going next door. Who's your competitor? Yeah, that's where I'm going to go spend my money. Yeah. And I'm going to walk in the door. And they're going to say, hey, you can't wear a mask. I was like, that's what your competitor said. And I told him I was coming here. Oh, come on in, sir. What would you like? Sure, whatever you wish. Yeah, is that right? So we have that choice. And that goes with our government, too. Yes, I'm talking about taxes. The two things that are really, really sure in this world is death and taxes, right? So, now I will say it is a federal law to not pay your taxes. Just saying. But, it's also a federal law to fake your death. But anyway. It seems that things are going to shit quick. But for them to they know that they will not have a France. Okay? That's the thing. That's my point. Is like France, actually the French, man, the French like us because we're a lot like them, or they're a lot like us. They'll go sacre bleu and just, march in the streets. Kick some fucking cans around and, scream and shout. A lot of Europe countries would do that and have done that a lot in the past. A lot, and now. They're doing it fucking now. You don't hear about it. There's marches, there's protests in Germany. I'm not protesting. When I mean protest, I'm not talking about a few people standing on the corner with a sign going, me, 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 me. No. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of people marching the streets going, you can take your fucking vaccine, you can shove your fucking vaccine up your ass, you can shove your fucking vaccine up your ass. They're singing that shit. It's, whoa, it was in Ireland. London. There must have been 1 million people out there. They could have just burnt that fucking city. They could have killed everybody there. But this is different. They're showing no, you're not going to do this, but they do it anyway. So with us, it's different, right? Us, it's a little different. We're preoccupied. We're in the rat race, as Hutch Holmes says. We're in the rat race, man. And we're chasing that almighty dollar. We're trying to get up that ladder, And I feel you. As many times I've stepped out of society just to say fuck you, but I always bring myself back in somehow, some way. But anyway, that's what we're doing. We're trying to make it. We're trying to make it in this society, and it's working. It's working. A lot of people do it. A lot of people do it. Yeah, it's every generation gets a little bit softer because the generation before them works harder and harder and harder. We work our fucking fingers to the bone. We work 80 hours a week. Most of you work harder so your kids don't have to. So they can go to college. You took that $100 bill when they were a baby and you put it in a freaking, program, and now they've got money for college. Boom, there you go. So we work, and we work for our kids. We work for the next generation. So the next generation has it a little bit easier. And now it is scientifically proven that the generation, every sequential generation going forward is smarter, more intelligent, they say, IQ wise. We all know there's intelligence, and then there's common sense. I like what no, I'm not gonna quote him, but I was gonna quote Marilyn Manson with the book. his analogy of a book. But you get my point. And that's true, isn't it? That hard times, make hard men. Hard men make soft times. Soft times make soft men. Soft men make hard times. It says, isn't that the way it is? And it's a cycle. It is. It's a cycle, and it just keeps going. But I just thought it would be very very prudent of me to get on here and go, well, whatever. Yeah, I do the things. Yeah, I love the intel. I'm addicted to intel. I watched all the riots in detail from different angles. From all over. I've watched everything from every side. I used to watch news, all the news, all of them, just to get what they're saying. And yes, it's true. They all have a script. Yeah. So it is, but well, it's getting back to my point is there's a fine line. They know that they cannot cross with us. They just know it. They know it, but we don't. Because we go, I got 2A. I got the gun. Yeah. I've got a gun. Well, how are you going to shoot that gun if your trigger finger is disabled because you're starving or you're out of water or you've got some kind of communicable disease that's preventing you from pulling the trigger or being able to see? How do you defeat a stronger army? War of attrition. There's a story. Okay. When the Romans marched on the Jews were the hardest ones for the Romans to fight. This is leading up to Jesus. Actually, this is before Jesus' time, and I can't quote the names or anything, but it took a long. It was very costly for the Romans to take Jerusalem. The walls were thick as hell. They were manned by every freaking person in there, and they all had weapons of war, and they'd been. The Jews were bad. They were badass at the time. They had to fight. They had to fight to keep that land, and they did. And they fought to keep Jerusalem. And the Romans, it took them a long time. It really did. But once you encircle and you start cutting off food, you start cutting off water, instead of sending 10,000 troops over the wall, you send 1 or 2 through the sewer, dressed as a Jew, and have them spread dissension. Maybe in the middle of the night you sneak in some more. What's it? Supercodes, yeah, Supercodes. Well, that wasn't the Jew side, but you get my point. And eventually, you can look it up, the historical. Eventually, the Romans won. And sacked Jerusalem and burnt everything down and enslaved the people. There were groups of Jews that were like, no, we're not giving up. You can give up, you can surrender, but we're not. And there was a stronghold on top of a freaking plateau with sheer cliffs that went up 600 feet. They had a well at the top of this freaking, flat mountain, if you will. And they could last forever. And they had food, and they were growing food up there, and there was a few up there, and they were the rebels. They were the rebels, and the Romans they circled, and they're like, how are we going to do this? And they would throw boulders, they would shoot arrows, they would throw spears down at the Romans, and the Romans like, fuck, man. Well, how do we do this? Well, once again, let's put our minds to it. They built a freaking ramp up the side of the mountain. There was one that was one side of the plateau of the cliffs that was only only a few hundred feet high, and they literally built a mound, a earth ramp, wide as hell, that they could, bring their troops up, and they did it under the cover, they under shields and armaments, and they built this fucking thing. It took them a long ass time, and that's how they did it. But they held out as long as they could. They did. In Jesus' time. And once the Romans established their rule, they went about the way of dismantling their culture, dismantling their bloodline ties to kings and queens and royalty and power. Power. So those who agreed to be Roman dogs and Roman slaves and do the Romans' bidding got to keep most of their wealth and their power, as long as they, worked for the Roman way. It's kind of how things are going now, isn't it? But everybody else, assassinated or exterminated. The Romans just didn't give a shit. They went right after it. But they knew how to play the culture game. And they knew how to play it against them. There was a resistance. The shit, am I saying it right? Serpicos. Yeah, these were the secret Jewish assassins, and that was their whole thing. Is they just Assassin's Creed. It was true. These guys. They actually got the Assassin's Creed where they actually got it from the group outside of Iran before Iran got sacked. But yeah, they had their own thieves guild, assassin guild, assassin. It's funny, the name assassin comes from hashashin, the Arabic word for hashashin, because it was believed that these guys sat around and smoked hash all day in devised ways of how to jihad themselves. Basically, they would train for an event to kill a dignitary or a person of power that's surrounded by all the best warriors and everything, and their only goal was to kill that guy before they themselves got killed. So that was hashashin. But they believed that them smoking hash and meditating and doing all this work, that's how they. So it was a kind of a derogatory term for hashashin, and it lyrically evolved into assassin. So you had these assassins, these serpicos, these warriors, these Jewish warriors, assassins that would do that, and they would find a Roman dignitary in the middle of the night. They would run in his place and kill him. What, Charity? Are you Jewish? Or are you Roman? I don't know. Here she comes. But they would. And they would sacrifice themselves. The end of a spear, the end of a sword, to kill that guy. To kill that Roman dignitary. And there were many crucifixions and whatnots and what have yous. You hear Charity? She wants her treats. I keep her happy. Anyway, you see my point. The Romans, even after they had conquered Jerusalem, it was very costly for them to conquer Jerusalem. And it was even more costly to hold it. We are accustomed to a certain way of life here. We are accustomed to a certain amount of freedoms. A lot more than we think we do. When you look at the rest of the world, we have freedoms that they could only imagine. You know? So, for them to try to take all that away, no, they can't. They can't just say, no, you're not going to do it. Because we're a rebellious nation. We're going to say, no. I like food. I like water. You know, and I'm going to have them. And if I have to go to the Quickie Mart and ransack it, I will. I mean, that's me and 330 million of my brothers and sisters that are hungry. We've seen what happened with riots of Rodney King. That wasn't about riot. That wasn't about Rodney King. I want a big screen TV. But a lot of places didn't have that. A lot of places were not affected by that. And that's my point as well, is certain areas are not going to be affected by all this crap. All this bullshit. So even inside America, as being the last vestiges of freedom and the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the last of the Mohicans, if you will. We're going to still have inside the country, which is large. America is large. One of the largest countries, man. I mean, bigger than Mexico. We're bigger than Canada. We got us a nice little thing going on here. For 245 years. Which is young for the rest of the world. And we have all the knowledge of the world. It's like the world birthed us through necessity. We were conceived out of necessity. Thank you, British rule. Thank you to the Crown, for making our lives, for bringing us into conception, as free men and women. So, I'm just ranting and raving here. I only got to about 55. I can only go till 55. So, maybe I should do like a StreamYard or something. Maybe I will. Yeah. So, Mad Shad, encouraging you all to continue to train, continue to prep. Because it's a mad, mad world out there. Yeah. Just don't stop being an American. It's not over. It's not over. It's not over till the fat lady sings. And I don't hear. We're still here.